How do you overcome your fear? So, overcoming fear. How in the hell do you do it? And why do I keep talking about this topic? Okay, so going into really working on my business instead of in my business, I've been surrounding myself with a lot of entrepreneurs. And for some strange reason, fear keeps coming up consistently, actually. One of the cool things being a mindset coach, I'm actually getting a lot of clientele from dealing with it because they're trying to figure out how to overcome their fear. And overcoming fear, it's a couple simple steps. It's actually not that complicated. I think a lot of people use that fear to procrastinate and they get so used to it that they almost run away from the fear. And so we all know that it's important to act in fear. I mean, there's certain things that we could probably use our common sense and say, if I did A, B, C, and D, I would get to where I need to go. But I don't know if I can do it. And people have their own way of saying, I don't know if I can do it. Sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, I could do that, but that's their way of saying, I don't know if I can do it. Because they just do it if they felt that they could. The same thing happens when people are trying to find their success, is the fear of what could happen with success. They see it as this dangerous thing where they're not going to have enough time to spend with their wife and kids. They're not going to have enough time to do the things that they love to do, and they're going to be busy all the time. And so what fear really does is it strangulates you into what you can't do instead of what you can do, becoming really abundant in your life. And so that's why I bring the topic up again of fear. It's one of those things that stops people from getting into their greatness, from doing the things that they need to do in their life. And I want to make sure people don't do that to themselves. I don't want people on their deathbed saying, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. I want people on their deathbed smiling, saying, man, I had a hell of a ride. That was a lot of fun. And so how do you get to that point? And it comes down to acting in what you're feeling. You know, everyone's on different steps. Everyone's on different paths, and everyone has a different journey. But knowing that you can toughen yourself in one way or another, that your body will respond to the habits that you create. Because that's really what it comes down to. It's simple, basic habits. And a lot of times we overcomplicate everything. It's just like, all right, if I just do this, if I do these 8 things, okay, if I meditate, if I dunk in cold water, if I focus on this ritual, if I do this, like, it's too much. Simplify it. Simplify your habits. That's how you create a habit, is by simplifying the process. And when you simplify the process, you can build more habits on top of that. But if you try and do 8, 9, 10, 11 things, then you're just not going to do anything. You're going to be in this perpetual state of, I can't figure it out. And that's part of the problem with self-development. Like I'm all for self-development. I'm in the self-development niche. But at the same time, if you're just listening to everybody and doing absolutely nothing on yourself and working on yourself, then nothing's going to get done. You'll be able to name off 30 and 40 things people should do not to be scared, but then you're not going to be able to do it on your own. It all starts with a thought. See, our thoughts help us propel our actions. And so, what a man thinketh he becometh. You hear all of these quotes. What's the other one? The only thing to fear is fear itself. You know the quotes. But here's the thing. You have to take action on the quote. And it starts with the root cause. Figuring out the root cause of why you're scared of it in the first place. And even if you're not ready for the particular fear that you're trying to take on, start small with smaller fears and then build up, because we have those two voices constantly going at us. One voice is freaking us out, telling us all the horrible things that can happen. And then we can get so used to hearing that voice, we don't even hear the other cheerleader voice saying, yeah, you got this, you can do something. And so it's so blared out from that fear voice saying, oh, we probably should just stay here. Yeah, it's better that we stayed here. It's better that we did this. It's about taking action at the end of the day. The more action that you take, the less those fears will yell at you. The more action you take, the less the fear will yell. And the more you understand your fear, the more you'll be willing to take the action. You see, when you can diagnose what the fear is, why the fear is there, and why you have to take the action in spite of the fear, that's where the real power lies. I made a video about being nervous, about creating these sales funnels, and I'm having a blast learning this journey. It's a new journey for me. But I made that video to remind people nervousness is okay. Fear is okay. They're okay things to have. We're human beings. But pretending that they're not there is what gets us in trouble. And then on top of it, pretending that they're not there and then not acting on it is what gets us in trouble. That's where our brains get us all whacked out. And so when we can define it and say, I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling nervous, I'm feeling uncomfortable, you learn some way, somehow to make the uncomfortable comfortable. Go into it. Dive into it instead of away from it. That's where the power's at. And people ask, well, how do I get there? Okay, this is how simple this is, right? How do you learn to do more push-ups? You just do it consistently in routine. You have to create a routine. You have to figure out a strategy. You have to figure out how to get the muscle stronger. The same thing is true with fear. How do you get the perception rate? How do you change your perception on those fears? Because fear's a healthy thing if you allow it to be. If I see a lion or a tiger in the jungle, I'm going to be a little bit scared. And I'm going to try and do the necessary things that I need to do in order to get myself away from the fear that I'm having. But if I'm creating these larger than life fears on a regular basis to the point I'm not moving and I'm not taking action in my life, that's probably not the healthiest thing to do. So it comes down to defining what your fear is. Why are you having it? Get to the root cause. And is it really as big as you're making it, or are you just making it larger than life? And sometimes it comes down to trying to take the action in it just to see, oh wow, I was just making it bigger than it really was. I never forget the first time I started public speaking. I actually public spoke at ASU, and that freaked me out. That was kind of hard. But after my fighting career, public speaking's quite easy now because I'm not getting punched or kicked, so that makes it a lot easier. And we really just make these things bigger than they are. We make them bigger than life. Speaking in front of a crowd is awesome to me. Because we get to feed off of each other's energy. I'm trying to lift the crowd up, and the crowd honestly wants to just lift me up. But our perception of what if I look stupid? What if I say something wrong? And all these what ifs. It's just a what if at the end of the day. What if? What if something bad happens? It's going to be okay. It's not going to be on Channel 3 News up next, such and such screwed up in a meeting. It doesn't happen that way. But we make these things larger than life. And I'm probably going to make more videos on this because I'm telling you, it happens to more entrepreneurs than not. It really comes down to getting through those limiting beliefs. When you can crash through the limiting belief, that's where the power's at. The power's on the other side. But it's how do I crash through that limiting belief? Because the same thing's true. If when someone's saying, I can do 5 push-ups, but I want to get to 20 push-ups. If I told them, okay, just do it, probably wouldn't happen. They have to have some sort of strategy in place. So the question is, how are you going to strategize your mind into understanding what its fears are and how to get through those fears? Ask yourself the deep, dark questions. Why are you afraid of it in the first place? Why are you making it larger than life? Is it something that happened to you when you were younger? Is it something that happened to you as an adult? You have to ask yourself these questions and ask yourself, am I making them bigger than they really are? Because I'm telling you, you won't regret that you asked them. You really won't. You'll regret it if you pretend like they're not there, though. If you hide from them. If you close your ears and pretend like, no, nothing's wrong. I'm where I need to be. I'm where I need to be. You know? And so when you can do that and look in the mirror and say, you know what? I want to do great things in this world. Like, that's what my channel is about. Go after your greatness. And greatness is not always easy, but it's fulfilling. It's one of the most fulfilling things that you can have. It's empowering. And so instead of running away from the fear, you run at it. You let it know that just because I have this feeling, just because I may have this in the pit of my stomach, this is going to propel me to do the things that I need to do. You see, it's not telling you to not do it. It's telling you to do it. Just some people don't realize that. They take it the other way. They take it as, I have to stop. I have to back out. I have to get away. No, you go into it. You go into it. You diagnose it first. You figure out what the problem is. And then you figure out, how do I go into it? Have a plan. Have a strategy. You can do this. They often say the teacher appears when the student is ready. And that's what it comes down to. You have the ability to do it. You can bust through any obstacle in your way. Remember, the opportunities are in the obstacles. It just comes down to, are you ready to see the opportunity? Are you ready to find the solution to the problem that's in your way? Sometimes people don't even know they have a problem in the first place. So if this resonates with you in any way, comment below, let me know. Go into your fears, go into your greatness. Keep being strong. Do the things you need to do so that you can say, I lived the life that I wanted to live. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.